Three-time NBA All-Star Antoine Walker joins Mitch today at the Hard Rock Cafe Chicago. Learn about his journey to the NBA and his personal side on today's Sports City Chicago.
Welcome to Sports City Chicago. I'm Mitch Robinson from the Hard Rock Cafe in Chicago. Band called Catch with us again. And today's guest, Chicago's very own Antoine Walker. Antoine, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Let's talk about your growing up here in Chicago. You went to Mount Carmel, which is always a bevy of football players, great basketball players. For you, was it always out on the streets with all your friends in the beginning, playing basketball, playing football, and just doing sports all the time?
Yeah, I kind of grew up playing sports. My uncle played professional baseball, so I kind of, geared towards baseball at a younger age. But as I continued to grow, being very tall for my age, at ages from 6 to 10, and so I just kind of branched off into playing basketball. So I kind of took a liking to it. And next thing you know, in 8th grade, I was, 6'4". So I decided to kind of change professions and to try to play basketball for the most part. But I always grew up playing sports. Grew up all three sports, baseball, basketball, and football. And just kind of ventured off into the basketball sector.
How did you end up over at Mount Carmel? It was education. Obviously, they wanted you as a player. How important was the education in your family in getting you over there that they wanted you to get?
I really wanted to go to a public school for basketball. I really wanted to go to King back at that time. Martin Luther King was kind of like the happening team in high school basketball. But my mom really emphasized me going to Catholic school and education. And I was already in Catholic school too. I was already at Visitation Grammar School. So it was kind of an easy transition to kind of go there. But I really wanted to go to public school. But for the educational part, and I kind of already got used to the system, I decided to go to Captain High School.
You end up over at Mount Carmel. You play with another well-known guy, Donovan McNabb. Talk to me about at 6'4" in 8th grade. They must have knew right away, we're going to get this guy involved in basketball. We're going to build around him for a few years here.
It was great because Donovan was a great athlete. I think a lot of people don't know that. He was the second leading scorer, for my 4 years there with me. So he was like my little partner in crime. And he actually wanted to play basketball professionally. We ended up playing each other in college when he was in Syracuse and playing against each other in the national championship game. But we became very good friends. Obviously, we followed each other's careers. Got a great opportunity to spend time with him this summer. And so I'm happy for him. I mean, it's in a tough spot right now, but I like him.
How different was the competition that you faced here in Chicago playing in high school, and even from talking with Bobby Simmons, playing around the area in street ball? How different was the competition here than when you went to the next level and entered college? I mean, because you have some of the best players in the country that play right here in the city.
Well, I think Chicago basketball, it kind of starts way before us. I think we kind of starts from Ben Wilson, Mark Aguirre at times, Tim Hardaway. It starts from those guys, and we kind of took a liking from watching them. I had a great opportunity of watching Michael Jordan and Ken Norman and Kendall Gill and all these guys play at a young age in summer league. So I had a great kind of foundation laid down, and we just tried to carry it out. Myself, Bobby, all the younger guys in that generation try to carry it out. But Chicago's kind of the mecca for basketball.
Was there a teacher or a coach or somebody at Mount Carmel that that you really are grateful for, that helped? Was a mentor for you, like you said, a role model as you went through?
Was great for me. I had an opportunity to my sophomore year. Norm Van Leer came in and coached my sophomore year, so he kind of taught me discipline. He was a disciplinarian. Everybody knows Norm. He's a very feisty guy, so he kind of taught me to be disciplined about the game. Obviously, my high school coach, Mike Curtis, was a very, very good friend of mine, and he was a young coach at the time, but he also, pushed me very hard and got the full potential out of it.
Yeah, Storm, I got it because I worked alongside of him at Fox and Comcast for many years. He was, as you said, fiery. What was it like at halftime with him in the locker room?
He's unique, I mean, he'd make you play hard. It was just my sophomore year, so I was playing on varsity, so it was a little overwhelming at times. But he pushed me. I mean, I made great strides throughout the year. But where he really made an impact is just coming to practice and kind of teaching all of us the game and how to win games. And at that time, my sophomore year, we wasn't very talented, but we did have some talent there. So he really pushed us, and we appreciated the time that we got to spend with him.
You're all-state player here in Illinois. For you, what was recruiting like? Obviously, you ended up at Kentucky with Rick Pitino. How many colleges were talking to you or in your ear? Is that a tough process for a kid who, A, stay grounded? Because you obviously everyone wants you and you have the talent. How did you stay balanced?
I kind of went through a process where I just kind of, leaned on my mother. I kind of narrowed it down to schools that I really wanted to go to, and I just kind of really based it off style of play. So it was all the area schools, obviously DePaul, Illinois, UIC, Notre Dame. Those schools were very much interested, but after my junior year, I started getting a lot of national recognition, so it kind of opened it up a little bit. So I kind of narrowed it down to 10 schools, had 10 home visits, and kind of went from there. Me and my mom just sat down and went through the schools. I took my 5 visits. So it was kind of like, I just kind of left it up to whichever coach can impress me the most. And when I chose Kentucky, it was really basically the style of play. I kind of admired Jamal Mashburn at the time. I kind of see myself in that kind of playing that same position. And I got the opportunity to go there. I took his number and just kind of, I knew I could play the wing, shoot the 3. Their style of play really, really impressed me.
What's a home visit like? I mean, these guys will tell you everything, won't they?
It's kind of like this come in, they like salesmen. Like, they're selling car insurance, selling the car.
I don't trust car salesmen.
Nothing's wrong. I mean, nothing's wrong with the school.
Sure.
Obviously, they tell you you're going to be the man, you're going to play 40 minutes a night. And they all kind of pretty much say the same thing. But the one thing that was unique about Kentucky was just the opportunity to play in that style of play that was pressing, running. It seemed like a fun style to play. And when I went down to visit the school, I kind of just fell in love with it.
When we come back, I want to talk about your time at Kentucky. You had 2 great years over there, and then we'll move on and talk about the NBA. He's Antoine Walker. It is Sports City Chicago from the Hard Rock Cafe in Chicago. Stay with us. Band called Catch is here. Take it away, guys. Welcome back to Sports City Chicago from the Hard Rock Cafe in Chicago. Band called Catch here. Today we're talking with Antoine Walker, Chicago's very own NBA star. And Antoine, we're at the point now you decide with Rick Pitino in Kentucky. You mentioned it was about the style of play. Do you remember what Midnight Madness was for you that first time, that first practice, when I know that all the Kentucky faithful show up at midnight to see you guys practice?
It was overwhelming. I mean, because I know our arena's a little different than most arenas. We're bigger than most NBA arenas. So down there, we get 24,000 people down there. So it was a little different. So it was a little overwhelming for me my freshman year. So, but it was exciting. You was excited to be a part of it. We were kind of like baby NBA players already.
Hey, did you have a chance to travel much out of Chicago when you were growing up? Or when you got to Kentucky, was this an eye-opening experience by seeing all the rural space, the horses, and all that? Or were you always in the city here when you were younger?
Yeah, I mean, when I growing up, I always was kind of based in the inner city, South Side kid. So I really didn't move much and get to travel. I did get to travel a little bit with AAU basketball. So that was probably my only experience in traveling a couple times throughout the summer. But when I got to Kentucky, obviously it was different. I mean, I'm a big city kid to go to a small town with horses and farms, and then was our summer jobs to work on horses and farms too. So
really,
it's a little different, yeah. So it was kind of kind of a little culture shock.
You ever get used to the smell?
No.
The Stables? No, when you go back here, it takes you back some. Talk to me about, so on Kentucky, what's it like to be a freshman and a highly touted freshman coming down there, walking around that campus? Does everyone know who you are? Obviously, because your height, they know you're an athlete. But do they all know that you're Antoine Walker at that time?
Yeah, I think, you know, in Kentucky it's a little different. Everybody follows everything, every recruit,
right,
every kid that comes through there. So it was good. I mean, I was homesick in the beginning, like any other kid. You come down to school and you leave home. But I think once basketball season kind of really started and we started playing games and practicing every day, I started to kind of settle in and just kind of liking to it. It was very difficult for me to leave Kentucky, so it started to become home for myself.
Rick Pitino doesn't seem like the most fatherly figure when you look at him from an outsider's view. What was he like as a coach and a man for you?
He was very important to me, especially in my life early on. Coaching me the 2 years, teaching me the game, teaching me how to play it the right way, working me endlessly to become the best player I possibly can play, to grow as a person. So he's been very important in my life. He's definitely somebody still today that I can call. And because the fortunate thing, he got an opportunity to come back and coach me in the NBA
right,
after 1 year out. So he's been around me a lot. So he's definitely a big part of my life.
Was Kentucky, it's the type of program where I would think that was almost your first taste of quote-unquote pro basketball, because the way, the importance of winning and the way the practices were run, I would think Rick Pitino ran it like a pro team pretty much.
Yeah, and the one thing that was great about our team is that, you know, we had 11 pros on the same team. So our
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, so our practices were actually tougher than our games.
For you, only 2 years you left after your sophomore season. Talk to me about the discussion that takes place. Is it with you and Coach Pitino, your mom? How do you say, you know what, I've done what I can do here, and they're telling me, you know, I'm a top 10 pick. You know, so how did it come about?
Well, I called Sonny Vaccaro, who at the time was the head of Adidas, but he was also the head of grassroots AAU basketball. So I had a relationship with him, and I just called him and I said, what do you think about me going pro? And he told me, well, I advise you not to go pro, but I'll make some phone calls and see what happens. And within a week, he called me back and told me that I could be a first-round pick. So I went to Coach Pitino and told him I wanted to think about going pro. And he said he'll get back to me. And the next day, he called me out to his house, and he told me that he'll be doing me an injustice if he let me stay another year.
Now it's real tough. It's great that he helped me, because if anyone knows, if they find out you're going pro, there are guys that come out of the woodwork that are suddenly an agent, a manager, and this. How important is it to have someone in your corner to help guide you through it? Because there are kids that I'm sure can run into a lot of trouble by just getting involved with the wrong agent, wrong manager, or business person.
Well, I think it's very important. I think I was very fortunate when I came out, and obviously I had a great respect for Coach Pitino, and I was kind of random the way I came out, so he kind of just took control of it right away.
Talk to me. What's it like to be the sixth player picked in the draft? Boston Celtics take you, and I mean, do you remember that moment? Where were you? Who were you sitting with when it happened?
Yeah, I had 9 workouts from teams from 2 to 11, so I kind of had a feeling that I was going to go somewhere in between 2 and 11. And it's just nervous. You're very nervous because all your dreams and aspirations that you worked so hard for are about to come true. So I got invited to the draft, so that was another reinsurance that I was going to, go in the lottery.
Right.
And so I took my family and friends up there, and you just wait. You actually don't really know until probably maybe 30 seconds before they pick you.
Really?
Yeah, so my agent just sits on the phone and just sit there and keep talking, and you just sit at the table and just wait. And I had a great workout in Boston. And ML Carr loved me at that time, so he ended up, picking me.
What did they tell you on the phone when they said they were going to pick you right before it was announced? Did ML Carr talk to you, or was it Larry? Did someone talk to you from the organization?
Actually, I talked to ML. I talked to Red Auerbach, was still around at the time, still involved with the team and organization, and also Bird. And they just say, look forward to seeing me in the morning for the press conference.
Hey, talk to me now. 19-year-old kid in the NBA. Like you said, you're growing up to be a man real quick. As we get into the NBA part of your life, what was the difference between going day in and day out? Because let's face it, there's some cupcakes on that Kentucky schedule. There's no cupcakes in the NBA.
The thing about when I got in the NBA, 19 was good. The team I was on was a veteran team. Me and Eric Williams was the only 2 young guys on the team. So I came in, I was playing with Rick Fox, Purvis Ellison, Dana Barrow. So I came in on the veteran team, so it was kind of easy for me to just play the young guy on the team. But I got a great opportunity to come off the bench early in the season, the first 15, 20 games, kind of get my feet wet. And then after we realized we were going to be terrible, Emil just turned me loose. So he gave me an opportunity to play a lot of minutes and get a lot of experience under my belt. So it was great my first year.
When we come back, we'll talk about your NBA and how you reinvented yourself and where we are now, what you're looking forward to do in the future. And then we'll get to our 5 questions, which is always fun. He's Antoine Walker. It is Sports City Chicago from the Hard Rock Cafe in Chicago. They are a band called Catch. Take it away, guys.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, give a dog a bone. Genie ran away with the Rolling Stones, and Daddy was a bad boy, Mommy was a queen. Every oh, 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 oh.
Welcome back to Sports City Chicago, band called Catch with us. And today we are with Antoine Walker. And Antoine, talk to me about how tough is it mentally to go from playing 30-odd games to an 82-game season, and then obviously your first year with the Celtics, there was no playoffs, but as you go on through into a playoff life?
It was difficult at times. I think because you're playing back-to-back nights with the travel, you get in late. I think the one biggest adjustment that you got to do in the NBA is you got to kind of pick when you're going to get your rest because you got to perform. And it depends what roles you have on the team. Especially early in my career, especially my first 7, 8 years, I was dependent on score 20 points a night. So that you got to be ready every night. I think it also depends on the type of team you got, the type of coach you got, because a lot of coaches can wear you down. I played on so many different teams. I've had 6 different ways coaches handle the season. So I played in Dallas where we practiced 45 minutes. I played in Miami where we practiced 3 hours. So every situation is different. So you just got to get adjusted to that.
And you did play on a number of teams. You played with a number of veterans, and as you grew up, were there certain guys that you really owe a little to because of the way they mentored you or talked to you as you were playing and helped form you?
Yeah, especially early in my career. I had my first 5, 6 years, I had the opportunity to train be with Michael Jordan, work out with him on a daily basis, and no other person to learn from the best. I think Emil Carr was a real mentor to me and still is a mentor for me, somebody that kind of helped me throughout my career. Obviously, like I said, Rick Pitino. And players I play with, I've been fortunate enough to play with other good players. Obviously being able to play with Dwayne and Shaq is kind of great. We've been great. I also played with Dirk, Steve Nash, Mike Finley. So I've been around some veteran guys who've had great experience in the league, and just kind of being in the locker room with them, pitching them. Sometimes you just can watch and kind of pick up a lot of things too as well.
Now you've been at the top of the mountain. You've been an all-star. You've played with the best. You've also had to reinvent yourself. Can you talk to me in playing? Deciding to play for the D League, to get back up there and start working, what was that? Says a lot about your character. What was that like for you?
I kind of wanted to see if I still can play. After sitting out a year and getting back out there, I thought it was the best way for me to stay relevant and to stay in front of NBA eyes. I felt like I played well enough to get called up. It was an unfortunate year where there was only 22 call-ups compared to the year before that, it was 48 call-ups. So I'm just in limbo right now as far as taking another route. This is unfortunate this summer. Wasn't able to get in front of any NBA teams at all. So you kind of stuck in limbo. So I'm just trying to figure out if I want to still play. Obviously, you always want to end your career on your own merit. So I would like that opportunity. So they keep being locked out another year. It'll be a short training camp, so it'll be another tough situation to get on the NBA team. But I'm hoping to be there. So just train every day, be prepared whenever it lifts, and hopefully get in training camp and try to make somebody's team.
Did those kids know the quality of player they had on their team or in that league? Did they recognize what you had been to the league?
Oh yeah, you have a humble experience for them, for those guys. It's not a league that pays a lot of money. It's not great travel. It's not great living conditions, but it's guys that work hard every day, and they have a lot of appreciation for NBA guys because they want to get to that level. But also, there's so many guys that are trying to get jobs overseas too as well.
Sure.
So it's not just about getting to the NBA. Guys are trying to get overseas, and it's amazing to see those guys go through it. But I've built some great friendships from playing with those guys, and you appreciate their work ethic.
You got Bobby Simmons' design on today, supporting one of the local guys.
Yeah, very good friend of mine. Very big shoe supporter of him. So, you know, we all try to stick together and, you know, help each other out as much as we can.
As you go on, is there certain interests that you have in business, a love that you have, or is it wide open for you right now?
It's kind of wide open, but if I have my druthers, I like to stay in sports in some capacity.
Could you ever be a coach, assistant coach of Rick Pitino? If the opportunity?
I don't know. I've, you know, Walter McCarty, a couple of ex-players have worked for him, and he's really tough. I mean, it's to work for in the coach sector, so it's a little tough. But I want to stay in sports. It's definitely an option, you know, to coach, you know, commentate, to scout. It's some type of, I would love to be in sports. It's some type of.
More rewarding for you to work with older kids or younger kids that are coming up and really find the gym and help cultivate it?
I think it's that age, that 13 to 18. You know, that's that age where guys really start to kind of get into their career and to kind of decide they want to play sports. I would prefer to work with that age group just because of Chicago and so much violence that takes place at that young age. So if you can kind of steer kids the right way at that age, I'll prefer to work with that 13 to 18 group.
Do you get back to Mount Carmel?
Not as much as I used to. My high school coach is no longer coaching there, so I haven't been out there that much, but I'm still a huge supporter, follow them, you know, on a daily basis.
Sure.
Football and basketball, so they're still doing well. I wish I had that gymnasium they got now. But, you know.
When we come back, we'll do the 5 questions with you, and we'll get you out of here. He's Antoine Walker at Sports City Chicago from the Hard Rock Cafe in Chicago. Band called Catch. Lead us out.
One away, one away, one away, one away, one away, no more, no more, no more.
Welcome back to Sports City Chicago. Mitch Robinson from the Hard Rock Cafe in Chicago. Band called Catch, and Antoine Walker with us. And Antoine, it's our 5 questions. So I just throw a couple things at you. First thing comes to your mind. All right, first one. Favorite city to play basketball in?
New York.
New York. Best night spot for you to hang out in Chicago?
Lumen.
All right. Number 3. Best thing you ever heard Rick Pitino say, either in a practice or during a game?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I can't think of nothing off the top of my head. Not a good one.
Best Chicago athlete, all-around athlete that you ever saw or played with here or watched from, you know, on one of the high school fields or anything like that?
I'd say Ben Wilson.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Last one for you. Best piece of advice you've ever got that you still use today. Who was it and who said it to you, and what was that piece of advice?
Best piece of advice I've ever heard. Stay loyal, you know, to your friends and the people, your family that's true to you. And actually the person that told me that was ML Carr.
Perfect. He's Antoine Walker. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Best of luck to you. I hope this lockout ends so we can get you on the court somewhere.
All
right. Antoine Walker, it is Sports City Chicago. Thanks for joining us from the Hard Rock Cafe in Chicago. Band called Catch with us. We'll see you next time. Take it away, guys.